machines in the area. We can't let them fall into enemy hands.
Keep your pants on.
After the Vita's rocky launch and months of mediocre sales, Sony announced at E3 2012 that Call of Duty would be coming to Vita. No gameplay was shown, only the title, Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified. It was billed as a portable continuation of the console Call of Duty Black Ops series, and was due to be released that same year. This was the game the Vita desperately needed to turn around its fortunes. Call of Duty was the biggest gaming franchise at the time, and having a new entry in the series on the console would no doubt boost the Vita's fortunes. However, alarm bells began ringing almost immediately. No footage of the game was shown at E3, and Sony didn't even reveal who was developing it. It was confirmed that none of Activision's internal studios were developing the game, but the caginess of both companies to show footage and reveal the developer was a cause of concern for the gaming media. At Gamescom 2012, Sony finally revealed a trailer with multiplayer footage, and confirmed that Declassified was being developed by Nihilistic Software, the developers of the Vita first-person shooter Resistance Burning Skies. Burning Skies was part of Sony's Resistance series of games that saw the player take on the Chimera aliens to prevent them from realizing their plans to take over the Earth. It launched in May 2012 to mediocre reception. The game was praised for its controls and for being a genuine first-person shooter on a handheld. However, criticisms were leveled due to its forgettable story, subpar graphics, and short, uninspiring levels. Many saw it as an average shooter, which did not inspire much confidence in this developer tackling Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified. However, questions were also raised about how the studio could develop and launch Declassified just months after Burning Skies' release. Gaming sites that had an extended look at the multiplayer mode of Declassified at Gamescom were left unimpressed. The main concern was that it seemed to play like Resistance Burning Skies, and that was considered a bad thing. Even the trailer failed to raise excitement levels in the game. It seemed that the title was not ready for release, and would almost inevitably be delayed, but Sony and Activision confirmed Declassified would be available in November 2012. It was arguably the biggest and most important game release for the Vita for its first holiday season, but very little information was being provided by Sony, Activision or Nihilistic. When the game was released, it was obvious why. When a publisher decides not to send review copies of a game to gaming sites, it's likely an indicator that the game has problems that they don't want to be made public. Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified was released on 13th November 2012, but no reviews for the game were available up to that point. A very strange occurrence for such a major title. Fortunately, or unfortunately, the game was so short the reviews began appearing within 3 days of release. The game was heavily criticized, and all these years after release, it's still one of the worst rated Vita games on Metacritic.com, with an aggregated score of 33%. Reviewers highlighted the imprecise controls, a single-player campaign that could be completed in an hour, bland graphics, bad enemy AI, and small multiplayer maps that could result in instant death on respawning. There were almost no positives cited at all, showing just what a train wreck the final product was. Looking back at reviews now, they seem overly harsh for a game that's at least as good as Burning Skies. But to make matters worse, the game retailed for $50 in the US and £45 in the UK, charging a price similar to the console Call of Duty games for a portable game that was far worse and much shorter, left fans disappointed and angry. Declassified had a single-player campaign made up of short missions, a multiplayer mode and a horde mode named Hostiles that pits the player against waves of enemies. On the surface, a game with single-player, multiplayer and horde mode seemed like a complete package. However, all three had issues that made the game feel rushed and unfinished. Following release, gaming media sites reported the difficulties of developing the game. It was claimed that Nihilistic only started working on Declassified after development for Burning Skies was complete, giving them only 5 to 6 months to develop Declassified. In an effort to speed up development, assets were reused from Burning Skies. What is especially strange is that the game was announced in January 2011 at the reveal of the NGP. If Sony and Activision had intended for this game to be made, why did they want to give development to Nihilistic, rather than one of their own studios with more experience at developing shooters? Why also give Nihilistic only half a year to develop and launch the game? There was an unconfirmed rumour that Activision were trying to port Call of Duty Black Ops 2 to Vita, but realised it couldn't be done well, and so the project was passed off to Nihilistic, as they were the only company with an FPS engine which worked on Vita at the time. Black Ops Declassified was the last console or handheld game Nihilistic would develop. The studio went on to change its name to Instigate, and stated they would focus on developing mobile games, before ultimately shutting down. Despite the poor reviews, Declassified reportedly sold surprisingly well, especially compared to other Vita games. The game had the second highest launch of any PS Vita title in the UK in 2012, beaten only by Uncharted Golden Abyss. And according to VGCharts.com, it had sold over 1.6 million units in the 5 years since launch, making it the second best-selling Vita game of all time. However, the positive sales numbers don't reflect the impact the game had on the Vita. At a time when the Vita was already being called a failure, Black Ops Declassified further damaged the Vita brand. A good Call of Duty game on the Vita could have given the device a significant boost to sales, but for many people who bought the Vita hoping to play a full-featured Call of Duty game on the go, it was a disappointment. Sony often referred to the Vita being able to replicate the console experience on a handheld, but Declassified hurt the Vita's reputation for console gaming on the go. From a personal perspective, I did think reviews were harsh for Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified. The game played well, and the multiplayer mode was pretty fun, but the short campaign with short levels was disappointing. So guys, what did you think of Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified on Vita? Do you agree with all the negative reviews? Leave a comment below, and as always, thanks for watching.